All right. I hope you guys can hear me. It's the first time trying this whole live hangout. See, there's one person there. All right, got two so far. Let me see if I can get there's supposed to be a chat going, I think. All right, can you guys let me know in the chat if you can hear me? All right. Can you guys, I hope you guys can hear me. I haven't seen any activity in chat yet. We'll wait a little bit longer. I'll be right back. Great. There we see. All right, so this will just be it's a bit of a live hangout. We had some questions before, but I thought we could, I'm gonna flip the camera around a bit and we can just walk around the workshop a bit, redoing things like I mentioned. So there's stuff everywhere, but we can have a look at, we got two cars in here at the moment, the blue S-Type V8, and we got the XJS in here as well. And a few other projects, and I think that a little bit later on in the live chat I'm going to reveal the new interior for the XJ6, so that will be it's hiding there in the back, but we'll have a look at that for you guys. And if you have any questions or if anything you want to see during the chat, just write that in the chat and I'll try and get to all of that. All right, I can see you guys. Thank you so much. It's I think it's amazing some people are watching these videos. If you just put in perspective, I live next to a very, very small town. It's where you see me drive down when I leave my daughter to daycare or do some road tests. I think in total there's 1,800 people living in that town, like up around the areas, the farms where I live. So that's over 10,000 subscribers. It's just amazing. All right, hi from Germany, hi from Israel. That's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Israel actually for since a very, very long time ago. I hope to when we can travel again, then that'd be fun. Olan, audio and video are excellent. That's awesome. I'm gonna switch the camera around just a little bit, get you guys off the mount, and we can have a look around the shop a bit, see if that works. There we go. So this is the kind of stuff you guys usually don't see. And yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. There's some future projects up here, but I got most tools here. I have a few down because I was working on the Daimler today. You guys will see a video on that on Wednesday. It went for its MOT and it did pass. Just fixed those two things. And here we have a future radio for the XJ6. But I also picked up a few other things, which will be in future videos. Some of you guys may know, I mentioned that I do love audio and audio equipment, including car stereos. So I picked up a couple. Wait, I'll show this one last. This one I plan on using in the XJ12 because it's a Clarion, and I like the black and silver. It's gonna go well in there. So if you guys want to, that may be a future video restoring this one as well. It should be working, but I think they always need some work. And then I found this one as well, which I've never ever heard of of EMI making car cassette stereos, and I've Googled a lot and I can't find anything on the part number. So I just thought that was kind of cool. So these may be for some future car, but I think it will be a video next week. I will take this apart, we'll service the belts, make sure everything's working, and that will go in the XJ6. And yep, this is the first live event ever. I'm trying it out. I had some plans on doing some other things live, but I just I didn't know you're using a retro sound. I heard that those are good, Jeff. There was a knockoff retro sound in the XJ6 at the moment, and the only thing that really I don't like about it was whenever you, let's say you turned up the volume and it's numbered, 0 through 20 or something, whenever you went up another click, it would beep all the way through like sound in the car, and that would kind of ruin the sound for me. I could never turn that off. So if you have a good song and you like it and turn it off, it would just beep, and I never liked that. So I'm going with this one, and I think there may be a future thing where I'm gonna put a little Bluetooth dongle and show how to connect Bluetooth to any stereo. So I might do that with this one. I'm not really sure yet. So you guys are really all over the world. That's awesome. And we got some stuff over here. It's just random screwdrivers. And I'm gonna add another level to that because I realized I have way too much stuff. And this whole area was supposed to be clean, but ended up being an area that I just throw stuff. But that's gonna change because I got some new cabinets where everything's gonna go in. So the whole idea when I built this workbench was that the recess down here, it's completely tight around, it's sealed, so that if you're working on something and you're afraid that you'll lose the screws on here, you can just push them down there and you're not going to lose them. That was really the idea. We got a license plate from my first Jag up here from a, I think there's some, I might show some pictures of it sometime. It was a dark blue 1979, first registered 1980, Series 2 XJ6. Back when I lived in the Netherlands, and yeah, I did live there for 9 years. And we got some, I used to do weddings with my XJ12, so here are some photos from that. It's just really, really fun. I might do it again. Oh, satellite radio is nice, Jeff. We don't have that over here. Like, it's not really, I mean, we can get satellite radio stations, of course, but we don't have any local ones. Stoke-on-Trent. Hi, Evan. And yeah, then there's other, these are just sort of some random things left over from videos that just end up over here. There was ignition parts and some other things. I'm keeping this just in case it actually sort of works, which just a fun thing, so that's just being kept. This is a little bit of a not gonna open up, a little bit of a secret project. There might be a video on this. All I can say, it's a transmission. I'm waiting on a rebuild kit. I'm rebuilding it for a friend. Usually I don't like to do transmissions, but it's a BW12, Borgwarner 12 out of an XJ12, and no one wanted to rebuild it for him. So I told him, all right, I'll rebuild it for you. Just pay for the parts. And I can't guarantee anything, but if it lasts you a year or so, if you've driven a bit with it, then you can pay what you want to pay. And if it breaks up, otherwise it's otherwise it will be free. Spare, actually. I do actually miss it sometimes. So it was an old Alfa Romeo Spider. There was a anniversary edition called the Graduate Edition, and that was it was really cool. But maybe. So here is the big project. There has been updates on it. What I'm going to do probably this week, I will remove the bonnet. You don't really have to, but I need to for the space up above, and I will raise it up high on jack stands. I got these new 3-ton jack stands. Hi, Andy. Thanks a lot. So they go really, really high up, so I think I can get the transmission out. And I just tested them out on a V6 S-Type, my old S-Type, a couple days ago. Did a transmission service, and I tested how high they can go, and I feel confident I can get the transmission out. Someone wondered what the red car is. That is usually covered. I had it off. Which wheels do you mean, Jeff? Do you mean the ones on the XJS or? So this is a 1991 XJS. It was the first car featured on the channel 2 years ago, and a couple other things we can actually. I prepared some things so we can have a look down here. It's of course it's a V12. There've been pretty a lot of videos on this car, but pretty early on the channel. Did oil change, transmission, and we did. Thanks, Steve. Yes, we will get some stuff on the S-Type soon. I did all of the fuel hoses, spark plugs, all of those sort of things. This is a very, very original car. It still has, all the stickers, all the barcode stickers as well, and everything. It's just had some subtle modifications, but those are really bolt-on things, so nothing was really ruined. It has these, aftermarket air intakes we put on sometime in the 90s when the car is pretty new. And it also has the mid mufflers are deleted and it's straight piped. It just has a small rear muffler, so it sounds very, very nice. Otherwise, it's low mileage. It was sold new. It's a California car. It was imported into the Netherlands, and that's where my father picked up this car back in 2005, and now they're living elsewhere, and it's just ended up staying with me. So it isn't my car, but I use it on the channel, and every single time my dad says, or I tell my dad, I'm like, oh, it's not my car. I just got interviewed for a magazine. I didn't mention the car. He almost got a little mad at me. He said, you should have mentioned it because it's basically here. So it's in the family. I want to get this thing out this summer as well. It was just more of a, oh, hi from Charles from Amsterdam. I used to go to uni in Amsterdam many years ago. So I hope to use this more this summer. But if there will be no car shows, then my daughter is old enough now to have a forward-facing car seat, and there's no airbag in this car, so I could actually even just take her to daycare in this car, and I think that would be kind of fun. So we're gonna use it at least for some things. Thanks, David. I'm glad it's helped during lockdown. It's helped me as well, sort of do things, trying to doing these things every single week. It's really helped because I think it's quite easy. The world's really odd now during lockdown and all to do things. Ever thought about conquering? Like Concours de Elegance? Yes. I have with this car actually, just because besides those subtle, period mods, it's pretty much just it's pretty much a perfect car. So I thought about that. And also I thought about doing sort of period things because this car is exactly as old as I am, pretty much to the day. So that's really cool as well. So I thought about doing some kind of event where you dress up in period clothes, and that would be fun. Let's see, and otherwise here are some new cabinets that, or not new, they're from a fellow subscriber who owned the XJ6 years ago, and they're old kitchen cabinets, so they're going to go under the workbench. So that's why they're just over here at the moment, trying to, the whole shelf thing under there doesn't work at all, but that's just a mess at the moment. The fuel tank in the, sorry, I can go like this again. The fuel tank in the XJS, it's good. We never had any issues with it. It's always been a very well cared for car, and it's just the past year that it hasn't really done anything, just because last summer it turned into what it was, and ended up doing some major things to it instead, doing coolant hoses and other things. But it does get to run regularly. The only thing it needs at the moment is it has a very annoying issue. I haven't looked at it yet, but it's an MOT failure. The windshield washer pump doesn't work. I haven't checked just if it's a fuse or what it is, but the pump is, I believe, in the tank, so that could be really annoying. But other than that, it's just basically check over everything, go for a drive, and MOT it. So that will be once the engine swap is done in the S-Type, which I hope will be done in a month or 2 months or so. Then the XJS will come out on the road. When I posted about this live thing the first time, with a couple of people asked some questions, so I thought I'd touch on one of them. One of them was, I think it was money, no object. What would be your dream Jag to get? And I've thought about it. I think I have sort of two of them. Um, One is more realistic than the other, or probably three of them. Um, a realistic dream, which I mean, it's not like I could afford it now at the moment, but maybe many years down the line, I would really, I'd like a Series 3 E-Type, so a V12 one, preferably a convertible one. Always like that series. I think I like how big and muscular it sort of is, and I like that it's a GT more. That's a nice, comfortable car. And I've always liked the convertible, especially from the Blues Brothers movie when Twiggy pulls up in one in the gas station, an olive green one. I thought that was really cool. I do like the coupe as well. But I think if I just have one, it'd be the convertible. Then after watching Jay Leno's Garage from the 10 years ago or so, I really fell in love with the XK120 and XK140, especially in the coupe form. I just think they look absolutely gorgeous in coupe form with the split windshield and all of that. Also pretty unattainable, but if I would win the lottery tomorrow and have an endless amount of money, I think the ultimate jag is the XJ220. It's it's a very I've only seen one once from a very, very far bit away in the Netherlands, but that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be a fun idea. I actually have a video planned, like how I got my wife on board on. She bought some stuff for her Range Rover, some things that she wants to update and sort of modify on it. So I think we're gonna do a video together on that. Speaking of family, I haven't announced this actually, but as you know, we have a 3-year-old daughter, but we're expecting another baby. This it's going to be, they say it's going to be a son, so we're expecting a son in July. So that's why also my wife, we're both working from home at the moment due to the COVID restrictions here. She works in social care, so she sees a lot of people, and it's not really good if pregnant women get COVID. All right, thank you for all the. Have you ever a dream of XJC Coupe? Yeah, that's cool, an XJC Coupe. I think you'll like that. There will most likely be a coupe coming on the channel. It's not mine, no. I haven't won the lottery, but I have started to take customer cars. You will see a couple customer cars in the future. One of them is a Daimler Double Six from 1992, a Series 3. It's coming here for, it's not running right. It needs fuel hoses, so it's going to go through the whole car to get it ready for the summer. And hopefully sometime in May, I believe it's a 1975 or 76 XJ12 Coupe is coming here for the channel. And it's in excellent condition, except it doesn't really run right. It's been restored years ago, and it's just been more of a museum piece, I think. Yeah, Harris Garage had a great one. That manual one is awesome. So that it will just be go through the whole thing. Just it doesn't run right, so I'm just gonna go through the whole Teetronics and everything. And I think basically he wants a turnkey car. So I think we're gonna go for brakes and everything, and just MOT it, and then he'll pick it up. He wants to drive it summer 2022, so it will be a long-term thing I'll tinker with every single now and then. Thank you. Yeah. And because I told them that getting parts for those early V12s, strongest and weakest skill sets. Strongest is probably patience. I'm really patient with getting. Yeah, sadly, she's not allowed to be. Sorry, just answered. Not allowed to be vaccinated. They don't vaccinate pregnant, but once the child is born, she's allowed to be vaccinated. So that's good. Yeah, very patient. I can take a lot of time doing something, and I don't ever really lose my temper or anything with when I'm working on cars or anything like that. It's not like I've never thrown tools or anything. Weakest is probably sometimes that I don't know, I try to tackle sort of everything, And usually it works out, but sometimes it doesn't, and I get kind of disappointed if I can't get something working correctly. But if you mean sort of skill set, otherwise on cars, strongest is definitely sort of tuning. I don't know. I've always really liked tuning, so getting engines to run just right is something I really like. My dad used to always tell me when I was little, before I sort of understood those things, that if an engine wasn't running right, you shouldn't have he'd say an engine ear, I mean Swedish, but engine ear, that you can sort of hear what sounds right. And after doing that for years, I kind of feel like I can feel that at the moment. So you sort of, there's a good expression as well. You can feel it, on the base of your seat. Um, I don't have any experience tuning Solix carbs on cars, just on mopeds and small motorcycles, but not on cars. Do you mean like the Solix carbs on like a Mark II with a 2.4 liter engine or something? Mechanical skills is mostly from my dad, I would say. I was always, he is a very hands-on person. Um, we was always, we never called a contractor for anything at home. If something needed to be fixed it or restored at home, my dad always fixed it. If we needed to tear down a wall, he did it. We need to do everything, he did it. And I was always along for fixing things. And he's retired now, but he worked on classic wooden boats. He restored them, and I grew up around wooden boats and had them myself. And so that was really a hands-on approach to woodworking. I might show you guys that in the future. I am setting up a woodworking workshop on the other side, basically above where the S-Type is, to just do the woodwork and the S-Type, and also to do other small things. And then that just turned into, I always like mechanical things and cars. I had a go-kart. Got a used go-kart for my 13th birthday, which it didn't really run, had seized on brakes. So that was sort of the first mechanical thing that that I could drive, that we worked on together, my dad and I. Before that, it was, outboard engines. That's something maybe you guys want to see sometime. I do have a collection of old outboard engines, so if that would be a fun thing sometime. I thought about maybe building a barrel for them to start them up, because most of them haven't really run in years. And then it's just working on cars. And when you buy an Alfa Romeo for your first car, you need to start learning how to work on cars. And especially when you trade it for a 1979 XJ6, that there were lots of issues with that thing. The engine was great, but everything else, there's a lot of issues with it. You start learning to work on things. So. Sorry, they couldn't read all things. It's about some power steering. Sorry. Austin Healey sprites. Those are very, very cool. The Alfa Romeo was. I think I would like to have one. It was probably the nicest driving sports car that I've been. Just how well balanced it is. I do love British cars, but the Alfa Romeo 4-cylinder twin cam engine that's an amazing engine. And this thing, it was a little rough around the edges, but it was nice. I think it had 79 or 80,000 miles on it, so it wasn't too bad. But I ended up selling it because it was the only car I had, and it was a 2-seater, and I sort of, I don't know, I had a vision in my mind of like road trips with a bunch of friends, but never happened. So then I got the Jag, and but yeah, that never really happened. All right, so I think we should go and have a look at that interior. I haven't really prepared anything with it, but it's sitting over here. And I hope you guys aren't disappointed. It is not out of an XJ Series 1 or 2. It is an XJ40 interior. I'm not going to use the center console, but I am going to use the buttons. So the goal is to install this interior, which is in very, very nice shape from a low mileage car. It looks brand new. It's nicer than the interior of my XJ40. But the plan is to make it look like it's always been there. I've had it in once to trial fit some things and do some calculations, and I think tomorrow I'm going to start ripping out the interior out of it, or just removing it from the XJ6 and start filming that episode. So there's not that much that needs to be modified. Let me move this. I did get a good used dash pad as well because mine was cracked. And here is the panel that is off. So I will do it in everything in 2 steps, basically out of a monetary thing. So step 1 will be to fit the front and rear seats, get that in. But then later on, I want to replace the carpets and I want to redo the sides, and then I'll get those in color matched with the interior because this interior is a little bit darker than the other one. But let's see if we can have a look here. I mean, it's basically all brand new. Seat bottom won't need any modification. It is the exact same size. However, the back of the seat will need to be, I'll have to remove the leather a bit, cut it down about 2 centimeters on each side, and go out 45 degrees here and then fold the leather back in, and it should fit. Seats up front are a little bit different. They use a different mounting system, but my idea is, well, you'll see it more clearly in the video. I want to keep all the electrics, everything. So I haven't seen any installs where someone's kept all the electrics working. I also want to keep, like I said, sorry about trip over things, all these buttons. So I have a spare center console for a Series 2 that I will use, and then I'll put in the buttons. I mean, I'm gonna have heated seats, electric, everything working. And so that is sort of the idea. So that's how that looks. And they mount very differently, but thankfully the floor pan is not that different. You'll see later in the video, but there is a there's a U-beam that goes where the seats sort of out under the seats of an XJ. If you think there's the floor here and then there's a beam. That beam is also on the XJ40. It's just not as high, but it's the same distance from that beam to the pedals. So this was a lot of just measuring on 2 cars, trying to figure this out. So I'm going to lower that beam a little bit in 2 places to get the seat on there. And then I will mount the seats as they were mounted in XJ40. So that means that the rear mounting holes are mounted through the floor, and the fronts are mounted onto that thing a little bit lower down. And that's the idea. So I'm not going to remove any of the original mounting for the other seats. So if someone ever wants to put it back, it's all still there. You can just put it back on. Here is the engine for that S-Type, that V8. So it's all going to come together pretty soon. Rear passenger door lock plunger goes down, but does not come up automatically. I'm not sure if it could be a solenoid issue. It could just be a lubrication thing. I have, when it got cold outside here, I had one door that did not want to go, the plungers didn't want to go up either. So I just lubricated and that worked. So I'm going to put you guys back in the mount. I had the question there about how I managed the time. And it's really, that's why sometimes the videos are a little bit cut up, because it's really whenever I have time. It's a moment here, it's a moment there. So I'm a bit of a night owl. I like to do things at night, even though I'm afraid of the dark. So sometimes that's actually a hindrance. I don't like going out here because after, when I go back inside, I turn off all the lights and it's really dark. Really a silly thing. But just, you know, after dinner, when everyone has gone to bed, if you go, I'll go outside and do something for an hour. It's amazing how much you can get done in an hour. I've been working from home now as well, so often on my lunch break, I might go out half an hour and do something, film something, and it all adds up. A couple of hours here and there. I hardly ever do anything a long time on the weekends. I usually do things with the family, hang out with my daughter and something with my wife. But usually in the evenings, like at this time here, 9 o'clock or so, I'll come out and I'm here for like an hour, 2 hours. I have the radio behind me tuned to a classic rock station, just listening to some good music and working. So there was another, let's see, here's him. someone had opinion about S types and X types not being real. Well, I think all Jaguars are Jags. I've never driven an X type. I really do want to, because I've all the people I've heard that really like X types have owned them for a long time. So I'd like to try one at some point. Just try and get a hold of someone that has one. I think they're. I've only been in one as a kid. And I had a. I was on the swim team, and there was some parent that had an S type. But that's how I try to get projects done, and that was actually the reason one of the reasons I started the channel, because I thought initially I was posting once a week, and I thought, okay, if I if I have people who want to watch this, I didn't think it would be this many people, but if I have people who want to watch what I'm doing, and they want to, that means I need to do something every week, because it's really easy to, after dinner, just have a, sit down on the sofa, put on Netflix, go put on YouTube, anything but that sort of forced my habit to go outside and do something, because I need to make the content, and that has just continued into actually realizing how much free time you can have. Even, trying to figure out what else I thought about showing. I think I showed most things around here. Planning on adding another car to your fleet? Yeah, actually, I kind of am. I'm still trying to make my mind up about it, and I haven't seen it yet. A friend of mine has a I don't know if I should say not, but it's kind of a special XJS, and I really don't need it. Definitely don't need it. I didn't have projects, but I don't know, it's something, I don't know, there's just something about it. So I thought I would maybe try and contact, maybe someone wants to sort of split the project, or if there was maybe a company, because it would need a lot of these spare parts. It's a pretty good car, but if someone wants to do a collaboration or something. I've yet to collaborate with any company. I've talked to a few of them, but if that could work, that'd be fun. I've worked on side draft Webbers. No, I have not. That would be fun. If you want to know a lot about side draft Webbers, there's a channel I follow. I'm trying to think of the name right now. It's a South African guy who does alphas. And he has great videos on Webbers. Jeff, I'll try and send over that to you. All right, let me see if I can. I'm still trying. I just see the chats. How's the tractor project going? Sorry, I just see the chats for like a second. I gotta figure out how to see them for longer. It's gonna continue. So really what happened is I filmed the last episode of that where it wouldn't start, and then our neighbors got COVID, and they were sick for quite a while. So I just didn't, want to bother them about it. And then some other things came up that the owner of the S-Type that was being stored at my house, he wanted to have a lot of things fixed on it, so I fixed that and things. But I have talked to him, and he's also very busy right now. But when he has a spare day, we're going to tow it over to my house, and I'll put it down in the barn, and we'll finish it off. I really want to get it going. I figured out what the issue is. The tractor, the battery that was in it was actually put in there wrongly. Whoever put it in, because it's supposed to be positive earth, and that's why the starter was weird and all that. I did not live in an English-speaking country, but I went to American schools ever since second grade. So I lived in Hungary when I was young, and then I lived in the Netherlands as well, and then I moved back. XF, love the car. Consider first gen XF. The XF it's a bit of a weird thing for me. I was in high school when that car came out. I mean, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever when it came out, with the shifter that popped out and everything, and I thought it was just amazing. And I don't know, the first generation hasn't yet aged well for me. I don't know why. I do like the later ones. I do really like the XF Sports Brake, the station wagon one. So if I could afford it, I thought that would be a really great family car. Well, now we have the Range Rover, but do like the XF Sports Brake. I know my parents were close to getting one many years ago, so I test drove one, and very cool car. Um, I don't know. I haven't. I'd probably to drive an XF, this first generation one. I haven't, but if it has the same 3 liter, basically V6 as the S Type, that's I really do like that engine. If it was easier where I live to do engine swaps, and if I had to change out the engine in the XJ6, I'd probably put in one of those V6s. They're very, very nice. They rev so freely and they're very cool. Yes, I do live on a farm. There are some animals here. We'll show them at some point. My wife said maybe that'd be fun. It's all basically all her animals, but there's 4 horses, 3 goats, a bunch of chickens, and some other things. Parts ordering situation. It's gotten better. It's just, especially Range Rover parts, they all need to come from the UK, and get stuck in customs. And I did do a test now from S&G Barrett's with a rebuild kit for that transmission, and let me see how long time it takes for it to get here. Thanks, Greg. Also, I get most of my parts through a local jack shop here called Joe's Garage. I mentioned them a couple times. I wouldn't call it. We have a little bit of a collab. That's the only company I a little bit collaborate with. They help me with part sourcing, with a lot of things, and so I do get a lot of things ordered through them, and it's easier for them to get through customs as a company than a private person. So that does help as well. Yes, I am having the vaccine. I don't know when it will be available. I'm not in a risk group, and I am pretty young. I'm 29, so probably after summer sometime. So did you think about lower fuel demand on local roads? Yes, yes I did, but I've had it on the highway and it seems to be fine now. I think it was I think it was just a sorry, the chats keep coming up. Anything? It must think it was a water issue in there, or it might be a fuel pump relay. So I do have a jumper in the car, but you'll see a video all on that in a couple of days. So does it have a policy lock diff? I haven't checked, Jeff, but I don't think it does. All right, so there was one question there. If I couldn't have Jags, what would I have, and what my favorite Jag is and why? So I think we could start with if I couldn't have a Jag. I like things that are. I think why I like Jags. I like complicated things. I like the V12s. I like the complicatedness. I love the climate control in the old cars, with just how it all works. So possibly an old Mercedes, like 60s Mercedes. I would really like it. Still would like when I think they're a little expensive. I'm just used to Jags are very cheap where I live. I'd probably want to have an Alpha again. I've had the Spiders, so maybe I'd want a like a 1750 GT or GTV. That would be very cool. I do like I do like American cars. However, there's a bit of a stigma with American cars where I live. If you're not familiar with this thing, you should Google it. In Sweden, it was really started, I think, sometime in the 60s, a bit of a counterculture called raggare, which was basically, back in the day, it was basically gangs and hooligans who went around in old beat up US cars, and really were not the nicest people, and that sort of has stuck around with those cars here. So it's a lot of like political incorrectness and things, but I do when I was little, I was obsessed with the 59 Cadillac. I still find them amazing. I 2-door one would be, I would still like one if I had the space. I think they're very cool. And I love the simplicity of US cars. I think I would at some point like to have something with a simpler engine. I thought about that, like with a pushrod V8, so a Rover V8 powered car, or an absolute dream would be I could never afford one, but if something were to happen, you get some money somehow, a Jensen Interceptor would be awesome with the 440. Favorite Jag and why? That's difficult. I like a lot of them. Um, XJ XJ Coupe probably, because I think the Series Two XJs in general are really my favorite. I love them, and that's why I have a 6 and a 12. And they're I think they're amazing, and they're such value for money as well. Which is But I like them. I can see if I can find something at some point. I haven't found it since I moved, but when I was really little, I got a model of an XJ Coupe in silver, which was a piggy bank, and I haven't seen it for the last two moves. I have to go through some boxes. If I find, I'll show it on the channel sometimes. But it was really from getting that I got into those cars. Um, I've yet. I do find it painful, and um, like that's the thing. I don't want to become a hoarder, but when I saw my old XJ6 up for sale a couple of years ago, I thought that was quite difficult. I didn't really want it back. Because I mean, there was a lot of things wrong with that actually, a lot of wiring issues. But it was sad to see it for sale. I've been trying to get a hold of the current owner. There is a Facebook group for the Swedish Jag Club, and I see him post sometimes, but I don't think he's very savvy with Facebook or computers. I'm trying to message him because I really just want to see the car. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I think it's had a paint job and some other things, and I kind of do regret selling that Alpha because 2 years later they shot up in value. I mean, back when I sold it, it was a €3,000 car, and now they're very expensive. You agree that the Series Two is your favorite? What do you think of later Jags? Um, Both yes and no. I never liked the XK8 when it came out. However, I've started to like it now. I was rewatching some old James. I love James Bond movies, and I was rewatching the one with Die Another Day, and the whole scene with the Aston Martin and the Jag from the ice hotel. And I thought, you know what, the XK8 is pretty cool, especially in supercharged form. So I do like those. Wonder if the all right, we can see how late. I do really like those, and I more modern ones. I've never been in an F Type. That would be very cool. I've only seen a few of them. I really liked it when Top Gear reviewed the F Type. I'm not that great with them, but the one with the small engine, the four-cylinder one, because I think that is sort of a brilliant thing because you're not really allowed to go really as fast as a modern car can go anywhere. And I thought it was really really cool how that would be the, if you had the money, that would be like the ultimate commuter car because it looks fantastic. It still looks like the one with the supercharger and everything. It looks great. It still sounds fantastic, and you get like really good mileage. So I think that's a good commuter car if you could afford one. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what I think of the whole EV thing that they're going over at the moment. It's not really my thing. I'm not really a fan. I don't think that is the solution. I think there'll be another solution because there's just at least where I live in Sweden, we have a shortage of electricity in lots of parts of the country, so that's not a solution. Um, I'm nervous about driving the XJ40. I'm not going to drive at night for a while now. At least I feel, just because um, it's a pain if it breaks down on the highway because there's not much you can do at night. I don't want to stand and work on a car on the highway when there's not really a hard shoulder. We've had friends of a family who they had an XJS which stopped on the highway. They couldn't get any cell reception, so they went up on a hill to get cell reception. And whilst they were standing on the hill, a big truck came and hit the XJS and totaled it. And if they'd been near it, they would have been dead. So I'm very much, if it breaks down on the highway, I sort of take a step back. If it's on a small road, I'll try and fix it. I drove it all today. I went through its MOT. It passed, but yeah, it's actually going off the road for a little bit at the moment. Not because it's not running well. It's running fantastic. Sorry, it's running fantastic, but it doesn't have any good summer tires. And the studded tires, you're only allowed to have them on for about another 2 weeks or so. So I'm gonna drive it for another 2 weeks, but then I'm gonna move it to the side and drive the XJ6 with the new interior in it. And because the Range Rover needs new tires, I've already picked out a set. I'll show you those later. Very, very cool. The XJ12 needs new tires because I sold the other wheels off it, and so it's 3 cars that need new tires, and that's a lot of money. So I can't really do it all at once. So I think the Range Rover will of course be prioritized as the main family car. Then I want to prioritize the XJ12 because that didn't get to come out last year, and then I will get some for the Daimler and start driving that more. But I think I want to fix the headliner and a few more things, just make it a little bit nicer before I use it again. Also fix the AC for the summer and the blowers and all that. Alright, I missed a few chats here, but if you missed something, you can just rewrite it again. I have not figured out how to be able to go back to chats. They pop up for about 10 seconds. Yeah, Falcon tires. Yes, I'm getting the Falcon 16-inch tires for the XJ40. And I'm getting Hancock tires for the XJ12. Basically the ones I had on before, the Hancock tires, are really, really good. I like them a lot. And the Falcon tires I've heard great things of, and a friend has them on the XJS that was here, the 3.6 that was here last summer, and that thing drove great on those Falcon tires. But once I have those other sets of tires, there's actually going to be, I've had a lot of people ask about different tires on these cars, so it will be a tire video. Have you ever driven X300? I have, and I really do like them. I don't know, I kind of prefer just the interior of the XJ40, just on the inside. That's my favorite interior of basically any Jag. I think it's amazing. But I don't know, like, I don't see myself owning one at the moment just because it's so similar to the XJ40 and how they drive and how they feel. When I got the S-Type, the 1991 one I had for a while, I was actually not looking to get that car. I was looking to get a bit of a project, which was an X308, which ran and drove perfectly. It just had rusty wheel arches, and it was very, very cheap. And I had an idea of picking it up and actually doing sort of an unthinkable thing, which just was to put rust converter on the rusty bits on the wheel arches and put those chrome covers on. I mean, it's a terrible idea, but I was broke and really have any. I could just afford that car, and that was sort of my idea, and have that as a daily driver on the channel. This was like 2 years ago. So I really do like I like the way that car felt to drive. The only thing that made me choose the S-Type instead was just that it was a lot bigger inside and it was easier with a car seat, my baby. I do like the X350. I've only been in 1 or 2. I really do like the look of them. It's the last one that really looks like an XJ in my opinion. I like how big they are. Like when you they feel so high off the ground. The door handles feel really high up. I really do like that. Look, it's on the anyway. It's disappointing. Sorry, I couldn't read a lot of it. You think you were looking at an S-Type V8? Well, at least we're having a lot of videos on that. Congrats on 10,000. Thank you so much. But I don't think I answered favorite Jag of all time. But if you're going vintage, it's probably XK 140. I think I like that one a little bit more than the 120. I think it's gorgeous. And in convertible form, I think the 150 is amazing. But those are really, they're just extremely extremely expensive, and I'll probably never be able to have one. I'm really hoping to, as the channel grows, to get in touch with more local Jag owners and maybe be able to trust them to let me borrow a car for some road tests, because that would be very fun. I can let you guys know about one thing that's happening. Do any of you guys follow Tyrol's Classic Workshop with Ian Tyrol? He's a really great YouTuber. A couple of weeks ago, we had a collaboration, him and me. So I'm planning a video series on 50 years of the Jaguar V12, and I have filmed the first part, which is an interview with Ian Tier, where we basically for half an hour, 40 minutes, we just talk about the Jag V12. So that's coming up, and Ian Tyrrell, he's such a great guy. I contacted him beginning of the year, and he really liked the idea. And then we finally got time together, and we filmed that video. And then my plan is to do a road test of the first V12 and the last V12. I already have the last V12 sorted. It's a second to last year of the X300 body with the V12 in it in Daimler 66 form. And I do have a friend, which I haven't asked him yet, but I'm going to ask very nicely if I can borrow his Series 3 V12 E-Type. Thanks a lot, Philip. Yeah, it was great to see those solved. So I'm hoping to do that sort of, and then do the XJS in the middle. So I'm planning a whole sort of video series on the V12. Initially, I was trying to get a hold of an engine and even just borrow one, but that's proven to be impossible. I even can't get a hold of cylinder heads or anything. I was very close to buying a whole bunch of stuff, but someone beat me to it. But I wanted to have a spare engine standing to do show some things on. But AM or Lotus? I mean Aston Martin or Lotus. I have an extreme soft spot for V8 Aston Martins. We're talking like the 70s ones, the ones I can't think of them right now, but the ones that basically look like a British Ford Mustang from the front, but they're amazing looking. So not the DBS, but the just the normal V8 one. How much should S-Type nickel issues be a deal breaker? I don't think that it should be a deal breaker at all. If it's lasted until now, nothing's gonna happen. But at least in my opinion. However, if you're waiting to buy, when I get that engine out, which is the Nickel one, we're gonna strip it down and see what went wrong inside. I think it's just blown its head gaskets and completely warped the heads, but I don't think Nickel was the issue. I'm glad that your channel gave the inspiration to start working things on your V12. That was really how it started. That was the other reason the channel started, was when I got my XJ12. I mean, I was in, what was that, 2000, I think 2012 I got that thing. So I was in university. I was 23 years old, and no one really took me seriously with trying to get that thing going, and almost no one really wanted to help out when I asked things, because it was very hard to find any information on the pre-HE. HE cars, super easy. Everyone knows everything about them. Just pre-HE was very difficult. So I had to learn basically everything and try and figure out it all for myself. And then when I got it, when I felt like I got pretty good knowledge of how it worked, I really just wanted to share that. And I did film a lot of episodes with that car that never ever aired, because it just wasn't good enough. I had a really cheap camera. It was really fuzzy and you couldn't really see anything. Sorry, I have the hiccups. And it wasn't good, so I ended up never posting them. But that's why you can see that the channel is about 2 years older than the first time I posted, because that's when I came up with the idea and I filmed the first sort of things for the channel, but I never posted them. And yeah, so I just wanted to sort of share that. And so there will be a lot of V12 content coming out. How much do you know about XJS differentials? Just sort of, hi Malcolm, nice to see you there. Just enough to sort of know what to like check for when you take them out, check for end play and things like that, but not that much more. Yes, I have seen a Mark 10 in person. I really do like the Mark 10s. There was a very cool one years ago, and unfortunately I could not afford it because I had just gotten the XA12. If I hadn't gotten the XA12, I would have gotten that. It was a early 4.2 Mark 10, basically untouched from new. So paintwork and stuff was like pretty tatty, almost sort of rat rod, but it was no rust, and it ran and drove, and it was MOT'd. And I just thought that would be the coolest thing to just sort of clear code it as it was, or something, or just do the whole sort of linseed rag oil thing that people do on like 20s cars and drive it as it is, because it was a very cool car. It's actually up for sale at the moment, for about 3 times as much as it was, you know, a long time, like 7 years ago or something. So I do like it. Is I forgot to mention that. I think that's my favorite saloon Jag is the Mark 10. I love how massive it is. It's I think when it was new, it's probably the same feeling you kind of get when you drive like a big SUV nowadays, which is a big massive car. I've noticed that with the Range Rover that you don't really get nice stares when you drive along in that. People look at you kind of, they're not really giving you the finger group. I think mentally they are. People that really don't like that car. And it's pretty loud with that supercharged V8, but I think it's probably similar when the Mark 10 was new. People probably didn't like it that much, but I think it's a fantastic car. But the S-Type it's very similar to it. I saw some questions before about some pre-HE XJS things, but I just sort of went by. Thanks a lot. Thanks for support. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Yeah, Mark 10s are cool. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. DS 420. I've seen a couple of those in real life. Those are very, very cool. And I'm hoping to do when COVID sort of is, you know, a bit. Everyone's gotten their vaccine. I hope to be able to go and visit some other friends' shops. I have a friend who has quite a cool car collection. Many of like unfinished projects, but very, very cool ones. He has like 6 E-types, 5 or something, Mark IIs, a bunch of other things. But he has one car which I told him that if he's ever selling it, he needs to call me first. He has a Daimler Dart in pieces. It was painted like 20 years ago and never put back together. And so there's a rolling chassis with the engine that starts and everything. That was, oh hey Craig, favorite XGS variant. I like a lot. It's a difficult one. I don't really like the facelift ones. Not that much. I'm not a big fan of the door handles and stuff on them as much. They if I like the facelift one, it has to be like the last facelift, because then they look really modern. That look cool. Convertible, I really do love that one a lot. However, a coupe with the flying buttresses is amazing. That's why I'm maybe considering getting that coupe that a friend has. That one is actually, it's a pre-HE 1975. It's number 67 built, so it's a very early one. So that would be a cool thing. I'm a huge fan of the Lister XJS's, not the Le Mans one with the sort of shark front, but there is, if you Google Lister XJS, there's a blue one that's always pictured with those Lister wheels, and that's sort of one of those money no objection dreams. It'd be cool to build a Lister copy if you found a car that you was willing to sort of do that with. So maybe like a rusty XJS that would be willing to sort of sacrifice to make a Lister copy. That would be very cool, and sort of make an XJS hot rod with superchargers and all that. Yeah, Link's Adventure is amazing. But if we're talking about shooting brakes, I haven't seen it. I've never been to the Jaguar Heritage Trust Museum, but I love the idea of a station wagon version of the XJ40. That they have one there, a prototype, and I don't know what the laws are where I live about this, if I could build one, but that would be amazing, because that's sort of that would be a cool family car, because it looks huge. It looks basically as big as a Volvo station wagon, and that would be a cool car. A comfortable XJ40, maybe with self-leveling rear suspension and that big hatch in the back. That'd be very cool. But yeah, I think I like a coupe XJS more than I do like a coupe, more than like the convertible, but it's close. It's just because the flying buttresses are amazing on it. Yeah, a lister would be a good way to rebirth a dead XJS. And I think if you're gonna do lister, I think go full out. So maybe bore out the engine, twin superchargers, manual transmission. Yeah, the Reliant Scimitar. I can never pronounce that. I used to buy a lot of those classic and sports car magazines, and there was one of the editors. He had one of those in there, a yellow one. He kept writing about it. It seemed very cool. I've never seen a Reliant in real life, so I don't know if they made it over here at all. That's one thing I do want to do is maybe go over a little bit to some other British marques as well. Sort of maybe do a more mainstream car. Sort of like the people's car. So I don't know. I haven't really thought, but I think the obvious choice would almost be like a Morris Miney or something. I think they're incredibly cute, and just so simple and just wonderful how simple they are. I drove a really nice Traveler a couple of years ago, and I think it was the biggest smile I've ever had on my face driving a car, even though it was very slow and noisy and uncomfortable, but it's very cool. Or maybe a small little sports car, but British sports cars, even the small ones, have gotten kind of expensive over here, like Spitfires and those. But I always like Spitfires. Sis asked about what's the first Jaguar you owned. First Jag I owned was a 1979 XJ6 Series 2. Yeah, I do have a soft spot for Stag as well. I think the Stag V8 sounds amazing. Yeah, that's true. There will be a rebuild of the IRS unit, but the one out of the 1966 S-Type is very similar to the XJS one. It's just has different hubs. So there will be a rebuild of one of those. That will probably be a summer thing, because there will be a lot of painting and things. TR3s are amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I've also always wanted to I've never bought a car on eBay, and I have had a look at Spitfires for years. So that would be a fun thing to sort of buy a US car and just sight unseen and have it show up and see what shows up. That would be fun. Between XJ6 and Damon 7, what do you have to? It's just trim level differences, really. What to look out for. I would Google a buyer's guide. There's some really good buyer's guides on this car. I'm planning on doing a video buyer's guide when the weather's a little bit nicer outside. But yeah, the GT6, now that is a cool car. Or put the GT6 engine in a Spitfire. That is cool. Also really do like the TR6s. Thanks a lot. I'm glad you like the content. TR6 is a cool car. That little straight six in there, that makes a really good sound. So that is something I've sort of contemplated. Yes, I currently own a car has 97 X that should have an immobilizer. Because I'm glad. That is really awesome that I inspire people to get Jags. That's really what I wanted to. MGBs are very cool as well, especially MGB GT. That's the thing. I don't know why I've ended up with just Jags, but that's sort of what happened. And I don't know, the green XJ6. I don't know if I've never actually told what I paid for that car, but here we go. I paid pretty much $1,000 for it, so that's why I got it. And I wasn't really in a position to really buy a car. I just bought the S-Type, and that was at the time the most expensive car that I'd gotten. And then I got the XJ6. I got that just for the channel to rebuild it, and I actually thought about selling it, but then I ended up liking it, and it's such a good car on the channel. And I've always liked the XJ40, so I picked that up, and I don't know, but I do like all British. I like a lot of cars. Classic minis, yes, I do really like the classic mini. I've never driven one. I sat in one in that video with the Range Rover when we were at my friend's shop, English Car Care, and yeah, I can fit in one, so that is cool. But I think I would like a car with a simple engine, just to be able to um, I don't know, sort of do a like an engine rebuild for you guys on the channel that won't be such an expensive engine rebuild like we're gonna do with like the XK 3.8 liter. That's, I mean, that could turn out to be a very expensive rebuild, but just do like a simple pushrod engine, that would be fun. And I think, I don't know, Morris Minor is up there. Also, Triumph Herald, also in convertible form, is kind of cool. I like that's a 4-seater. That could be a fun car to go down to yeah, just to the ocean with family. But yeah, I think Morris Minor. I would love a Traveler one because I think that would be cool to put like logos on for my little shop, and that would just be like a good advertisement billboard when you drive on. An Imp. I have never seen one in real life. I don't think that they made it outside the like they made it over here, or I've never really seen one. I have, however, recently joined a Swedish car club for British cars of all makes. So I'm hoping that when you get the first car show with that after COVID, I'm hoping to see some cool British stuff on there. I'm also trying to contact owners on there if anyone has a barn find, because it'd be fun to do sort of a revival thing, get a car going. It's been sitting for a while for a video. But trying to get a hold of that. I do have someone I know with a Land Rover sitting, so maybe that will be something, just for sort of fun video thing. But yeah, like I said, the A and the B series engine, they're very good engines, and there's so much you can do with them aftermarket as well. So even if something like a Morris Minor is quite a slow car, if you want to, there we could do some performance things and have it, they'll keep up with traffic and put disc brakes on it, and there could be a lot of fun sort of upgrades. And they seem to have a good community. Yes, to the Landy. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get a hold of. Hold on, we did talk about it. That was actually supposed to be the Christmas special, but COVID happened, and but maybe it will happen in the future. I think it's been sitting for like 15 years or so in the barn, but it's a Series 2 Land Rover, I think. So or it may actually be Series 3. So I mean, that was quite straightforward, and it's a petrol one, so it should be pretty straightforward to get it going. But yeah. But I'm glad that you guys like the idea of sort of diversity in the channel a little bit. With stuff, Greens from Pennsylvania, and I've been kind of helpful. Thanks a lot, Alexander. I'm glad that you guys are really liking this stuff. And I know I recognize a lot of your names, and on the normal videos, I try and keep up with comments as much as I can. On the last video, I wasn't really that good at keeping up with comments, just because I was really tired from my leg hurting, which it does feel better now, but for a while there with taking this pain medication stuff, I was quite tired, so I just couldn't really sit and hold my phone that long and answer comments. But I really do read all of them, and I try to answer as many as I can. See, we're 45 people in here. It's been pretty steady around, between 35 and 45, 46. That's very cool. And we've been going for over an hour. I hope you guys, do you want me to continue, or if anything else? We have new people here. Should we do another walk around the shop a little bit? Servicing the supercharger on the Range Rover, yes, that is going to happen. I'm going to take it out to do that. Just because I want to get to the coolant hoses underneath. So yeah, I'll do all of that. Probably, when it's a little bit warmer outside. My wife, before, she's also working from home now because she's pregnant, and so far along that it is dangerous for her to get COVID, or dangerous for her and the child. So we're sort of in isolation, and yeah. That's why. So that car is actually not. I'm basically the one driving it at the moment, the most. So once the new interior is in the XJ6, I can do some more things on the Range Rover. Uh, oh, awesome! I'm glad that you're the same age as well. That is also a future video I'm trying to plan with another YouTuber, who is also my age, into classic cars. He's into a totally different make though, but we're trying to do a collaboration video where we sort of talk about getting young people into classic cars. I like to keep up. Thanks a lot, Paul. Some of the content you plan for the some future content planned. Well, we can go. There's I always have a lot of sort of videos planned, but I sort of see what happens. There will be the V12 series, like I said, with Ian Tyrrell of Tyrrell's Classic Workshop coming up. There will also be the 2 V12 cars coming in, customer cars, and there'll be a lot of things on those. So there'll be like introduction video to those cars, and then if you guys want to see anything on those cars, you can take advantage of them being here, and I can film some things on them. There will be a video or two on old radios, car radios, getting those go. There will be more on the Range Rover, more servicing on that. We're gonna do the front and rear diff, transfer case, supercharger, coolant hoses. How many horses my wife has? She has 4 horses. They're actually like right next door. The stable and my workshop are door to door. I have considered when the head gasket blew in the XJ6, I actually sort of thought about it after filming the video. I sort of thought about selling it, but I'm always sort of like that. When I don't drive a car for a while, I sort of think about that, but then when I get in it, I like it again, and I do have the space at the moment, so I do plan on keeping the ones I have. But of course, I mean, if something happens, I mean, I lost my job or something, of course, I would have to sell some cars. You know, family and everything like that comes first. But no, there's nothing I want to really sell, because I have plans for all of them. Like I really want to, the XJ6. I don't actually know the mileage on it, to be honest, but I sort of just want to make that into like a really, really used and loved XJ6 that's been on a lot of adventures, and just like a high mileage loved car that it might not be perfect, but you can tell it's really been, you know, loved. The XJ40 I want to take on a long road trip at some point, because it's lived half its life down in Monaco, so I want to take it to Monaco. Basically, you know, that thing would be a fun sort of video thing down on the Riviera, but not sure when that's going to happen, or I hope it's going to happen at some point. I also want to do road trips, sort of copy what, I love what Harry's garage did when he drove his Silver Shadow up to the Arctic Circle, because I've never been to Arctic Circle, so I'd love to do that as well with some car, hopefully in the future. Sorry, I'm going to keep up with the chats here. But do you guys want me to? Do you want to see some stuff around the workshop, or should we continue here with the chat? Crazy question. Do I happen to know that? Off the top of my head, if they bolt in straight away, if XJS seats bolt in, but I've seen people do it on coupes, so I think they are pretty easy to adapt. But there will be a video here on the channel really soon about adapting seats not made for a car in the car, because I'm putting different seats in the XJ6 from the XJ. There'll be XJ40 seats in it, which are behind me, which I'll look at in a little bit, or we just looked at before. So I mean, everything's possible. You can get any seats that fit. All right, someone would love a tour of the shop. We will do that. We had one earlier, but we'll do one more for the people who join now. So let's start by walking over here. So this is sort of the workbench area, and Yeah, all the mess under here is gonna get sorted now because I have one kitchen cabinet there, and I picked up from a friend who is remodeling. So I picked up some kitchen cabinets, and they would go alongside underneath here, and there'll be just a lot more storage, and that's why everything's just thrown in here at the moment. And here are big old Craftsman, another one. So these two used to be my dad's when he restored that classic wooden boats, but he retired now, so he gave them to me, and I'm still sort of working out what I want to have in them. But I think my small sort of toolbox is gonna go over into the other small workshop with one set of tools, and then I'll have this as the main toolbox. And this one I sort of use and roll out when I work on a car to like lay tools right behind me. And then I think I'm gonna keep the bottom half of it empty just to be able to put parts I pull off a car in it while I'm working on the car. At least that's sort of my idea. Otherwise, just try to hang up all the tools here, and I always expand that. Screwdrivers and stuff. This is actually the license plate from the first Jag I had, the 1979 XJ6, and I lived in the Netherlands then, so I've kept that. And here is a project that you might see at some point. It's a transmission that I'm restoring for a friend, and there might be a video on that, putting it together, I'm not really sure. Just an old dash over there. Here is that parts washer. Ended up going over here, so I still need to sort all this out so it's more the way I want it. It's not really done yet. And over here is just shelf of sort of random stuff at the moment. I put these up when I rebuilt the XJ6 the first time, just to put all the parts up there. So we got a couple the old head gasket, which I'm just saving for the video purposes to show where it blew. These are some spare chrome rings for the XJ6. They're going on it. This is for the rear window. That's going on as well really soon. And yeah, there's the dash out of the S-Type. And I think I planned on just to run some wire through and hang it on the wall while the car is being restored, just because it's really beautiful to look at. So I thought about that. Here is the interior for the XJ6. So that is from an XJ40, so it will have a little bit of a different interior, and I will modify it. But the idea, like I mentioned before, maybe half an hour ago or so, is I want to make it look like it's always been there. I want to make it look completely stock, but I'm going to get all the electrics working, heated seats, electrical, adjustable, everything. And that's really the idea. Then we have a little bit of some artwork out here that we never really looked at. When I was a kid, I really liked the Volkswagen Beetle. Never had one, but I love them and I really wanted one. So there's there's a French ad for a Volkswagen, and there is a Volkswagen over there as well. These are some Swedish motorcycles, Husqvarna, which I got these at the museum I went to years ago. And this was just something I saw in a shop once, and I thought that I just got my first apartment, and I thought it looked really cool. And Vespas are very cool as well. And here is I think it's it's an Italian brand of clothes. My my aunt had a clothing shop, and she had these hanging in there. And when she shut down the shop, I asked her for them, and I got them. So there's another E-Type over here, which see. And then there is an Hispano Suiza, which I just found at a flea market at one point, which I thought was very cool. I think it's a 1912 Hispano Suiza. Then we have that Shell clock over there. We get two spare hubcaps. We have a spare XJ Grill Series 2. And then we just have some of the model cars. Do you find, which one do I find the most beautiful? Series 1, 2, or 3. Series 2, in my opinion, is the most beautiful. I could want a Series 1 as well at some point, or a Series 3, but I think if I want one, I probably want a V12 of them. I love the V12. And there's just some random stuff up there. There's model cars from when I was little. There's a Mark 10 grill, which is a flask. Um, yeah, there's no sweet curse on that either, as you said. Um, you have a leaper up there, a gold one. I'm looking for the other side. That is a right side. If anyone has the left side, please let me know. That is a gold one for the XJ12. On the white ones, they were gold originally. Then we have a deck plans of the RMS Titanic. I was the biggest Titanic nerd as a kid. And I went to the Titanic Museum in Belfast a couple years ago, so I got that, plus some other Titanic things which are coming up in here. Got a dartboard over here, and those are just, yeah, it's just really for decorations. You can't really throw darts of cars in here, but my wife and I did throw it once when it was out of there. Oh, you're from Belfast? That's awesome. I loved going. That was one of my favorite trips I've been on, which was just a road trip through Ireland. It was amazing. And then over here is the XJS. And then here is what's upstairs. Above here is a hayloft. That's it. So it's just store, food. And here is the 3.8 out of the S-Type. Haven't done anything except put it on the pallet. And here's some other stuff we're storing around the house, which is going to get moved out of here. And there's the back of the tool chest. And I guess we could have a look at the sofa and the bookshelf, which initially I put the sofa here so that my my daughter could have somewhere to sit and hang out when she was out here with me when I was on parental leave. The XGS is a 91. Oh, that's a neat story about Titanic. So yeah, here it's just, it's not really. I think I want to change the shelves because when I get all those storage, I don't need them. Yes, this was a pig barn originally, not cow barn. So I think I'm gonna put cool memorabilia in here, just sort of as a backdrop. But at the moment, there's just magazines. We got different manuals. I picked up some very cool manuals, actually. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see. So this is a service manual for 420, which someone in the Jag Club was selling. So I thought that was very cool. And I got one for the Mark II as well. 3.4, 2.4, and 3.8. So just really nice old manuals. Got one for the S-Type as well. I got a few years ago. And that's really what's up here. Detailing stuff, lubrication things. But yeah, I'm going to probably just make this into a bit of more of a backdrop. And come summer, I will finish doing the tiling of the ceiling and, paint everything here. All right. I'll put this back here. Okay. I think we had someone saw before ask a little bit about future videos, like what you can sort of expect. I'm hoping to do some more driving videos. I have a friend who is a professional drone pilot, so I want to hire him to do some things. Especially with the XJS, I have an idea for a. I like to do more what's it called, like a more artistic video, like a sort of something sort you see on Petrolicious, that sort of thing, with the XJS. And the working title is The Lost Art of Going for a Drive. So I think it needs to be late spring when it's really beautiful outside, and we're gonna do some drone works and some cool drive videos, and it will probably just be not a lot of speaking or talking, just nice visuals and the sound of the V12 and some beautiful driving. So that is a planned video as well. And I have scrapped the idea of doing a car show at the moment because of my wife's pregnancy. I don't want to have a bunch of people over Um, um, yeah, thanks, but yeah, it's a real. Yeah, that's the thing about the channel as well. Yes, with the top down of the car. Um, I mean, I have a regular job. I work as an IT support person. I mean, my wife also has a regular job. We're quite young with a young kid. You know, my wife is 30. I'm 29. So um, this is all sort of realistic things. Um, and of course, it's really thanks to you guys watching and thanks to great donations over on Patreon that I've also been able to get some of the other cars and be able to work on multiple cars. Because if I wasn't doing this, I definitely probably wouldn't have the multiple cars that I do and work on them. So I want to thank you guys so much for that, giving me the opportunity to do this. I would have never gotten the XJ6 if it wasn't for you guys. I mean, like I said, it was very cheap. It was about $1,000 or so with a blown head gasket. But at that moment, you know, before Christmas, that was like the last $1,000 I had in savings, and I was like, all right, I'm putting this into this car, hoping that it will make good videos and hoping that I can make the money back at least somehow. Otherwise, I'll have to sell it really quickly, and so that's why things are realistic. I do want to add things to the workshop, of course. I really would. I have a parts washer I got for Christmas, which is amazing. I would like a sand. Your 73 restored back to original. I'm not that good at human stuff yet. Well, maybe I'll have to work on that. I would like a sandblasting cabinet or just a bead blasting cabinet. So that is really high on the list. But there's no point in getting that because step one is getting a larger compressor. So that would be. Thanks, Jeffrey. I'm glad I got the XJ6 as well. It really sort of that sort of home restoration of bringing that thing back to life is really what made the channel sort of like take off. And it was it was sort of a big gamble, and I wasn't really maybe totally honest with you guys like at the time, but why some things took so long and some videos took longer is also because I couldn't really I was waiting on being able to afford some parts, you know, waiting on my next paycheck to be able to pay my bill of parts to get new parts. Um, I don't have an ultrasonic parts cleaner. That would be very cool. A friend of mine recently got one, so I'm gonna see what he thinks of that one. I might get the same one, but I do have it's just a big parts cleaner, sort of with reused the same fluid. What do I think of Saab? I've never had a Saab. My wife has had before we met, she had a Saab Aero, and she loved that thing, and that's also why she was looking forward to having a car again with a powerful engine and supercharger in the in the Range Rover. Saabs are very neat, very cool. I hope to be able to maybe show some on the channel when we go to car shows, because you see some two-stroke Saabs at car shows here, which are very cool. I have never owned one. I was very close to getting a Saab 9000 at one point, actually, as a daily driver, but no. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Saab or Volvo? Since I've had a Volvo, I am a Volvo owner. I had a Volvo V70, a 97. It was a 9.5 Aero Estate that she had. She sold it when it started rod knocking, so she overfilled it with oil and sold it. She told me, or something like that. So it's probably not still alive. Official IT guy. I'm a computer geek in healthcare. That's cool. I'm a bit of a. I work in IT, but I don't. I've come to realize I don't think I like computers that much. But yeah, I work with it that much. Oh, cool! You have an XJ4 with the same kilometers in New Zealand. Yeah, but Saabs are cool. I sometimes I've looked at the 9.3 convertible Saabs just because they're such an affordable convertible, which is a real 4-seater or 5-seater convertible. You can go out with a family, and I think that is very cool. And I love the commercials for those back in the day. There was a yellow one, and it was I mean, you can't air a commercial like that anymore because it was girls in bikinis that had been skiing and they had a yellow convertible Saab. It was a very, very cool commercial. So those are nice. I do like the convertible Volvo C70s, and I think that they are a future investment. I haven't seen anyone talk about this, but I think that they are because Volvo don't make any convertibles anymore. So I think if you get one of those with fully loaded with the turbocharged 5-cylinder engine in a good color with all the options, I think that is an investment car. Not that I'm gonna get one, but having driven, I've driven like 150,000 kilometers in the Volvo V70, which is basically the same sort of car. They are amazing, amazing cars. They're very cool. Oh, I saw you had a new phone and 6 Jags. That's awesome. Yeah, old Saabs haven't gotten that. Saabs, I mean, they have a strong following, of course, here in Sweden. People are very, very loyal to them. Same with Volvos. Um, but yeah, they think that would be cool. I have sort of thought about that if I ever come across a nice Saab, an Aero sedan, if I ever come across one, if I were to have spare cash, that would be a fun surprise for my wife. I think she would like to have one again. She said it was so I didn't know her when she had it. It was before we met, but she said it was one of the fastest cars that she's had. That just that second gear took you off, like you second gear took you to jail, basically how fast it went. All right, hi Arizona, hi Mark. But yeah, so maybe at some point there will be some cars on the channel which are not British. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's called Living with a Classic. It's not called Living with a Classic British Jag. It could be something else. What do you think of BMWs? I do like BMWs. There is a BMW here at the house, as you may know. There's a BMW Z3 out in the it's my mom's, but once again they live abroad, so it stays at my house. I want to do a video on that in the future because I think the Z3 Roadster is really underrated. It's an amazing car, especially especially with the small engine. It has the 1.8 liter, and it's just really well balanced with that engine because it's an open little roadster. You don't need a big engine in it. It's fast enough. It makes a good noise. If you push it in corners on a wet day, the tail will. It's really tail happy. It's a cool car. Otherwise, the Shark Notes 635 CS or whatever, CSI or whatever, 635 BMWs, I think those look really cool, especially in black. I did like those. When I got my first car, I really wanted I looked at a BMW 3.0 CS because I mean back then they were not that expensive. I was looking at one. Tried to put a bid on one which was parked locally where I lived, and it was sitting outside, but it was pretty decent. It was a silver one, and also when I moved to Sweden, when there was an underground parking at the apartment I lived, and there was a 3.0 CS there, automatic, that was been sitting for years, and I tried to contact the owner as well. Koenigsegg. I actually talk about Koenigsegg in a video that will be up very soon. I live like, I don't know, like less than 10 kilometers away from the Koenigsegg factory. So I see them every now and then. I see the test cars, and unfortunately today I had didn't have the camera on, so I met one of the test cars. So it's a test mule, so it's all covered in things, so you don't really see what it looks like, but you can hear that it's a Koenigsegg, and you can see it, and it's weird. I don't know how they get to do it. They don't have any license plates on them, and you just sort of see them, and they're sort of covered in styrofoam all stuck on them. They look very weird. I'll see if I can find a picture. I've taken a picture of a few. You see them at gas stations sometimes around here. I think about once every 3 months or so I usually see one. So I didn't actually apply. There was a job opening for an IT position at Koenigsegg, and I was very, very close to thinking about applying to it because that would be kind of cool. But No, it didn't apply. But yeah. Yeah, hanging out next to the airfield. Um, that is something I've also wondered. What do you think about MGs and Rovers? I really do like MGs and Rovers. One of my dream cars, I've never driven one, but it's my dream car anyways, is a Rover P5B with, B with the Buick V8 and a Rover V8 in two-tone. So with like a silver roof and a dark exterior, that's one of my dream cars. Um, I've looked at several P6s over the years, and I've been close to thinking about one. I was actually looking at one when years ago, sort of when I had the first idea of daily driving a classic. I thought that a 2-liter manual P6 would be a good car, and they're very cool. I looked at a white one with a red interior, but that never happened. I drove a V8 as well, which rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, or all wheel drive in the snow. I think all of it works. The trick about driving in snow is getting snow tires. It makes a huge difference, the right tires. Then it doesn't really matter where the car's driven, as long as you have good tires. But rear wheel drive is more fun in the snow, anyways. Yes, MGs, very cool. I've looked at many MGBs. I like the GTs. I'll get to the guilty pleasure about ugly cars in a bit. And I like, early MGs as well, like the TDs and all of those. I like the MG Magnet. I think they just look like you're driving around in a radio, old radio. They look fantastic. A car that is ugly but I like, or considered ugly. I can't remember what it's called right now, but sort of one of the last Lancias made. So it's like mid 2005 or something. It came out. It's called the Thanos or something. Lancia, and it's very odd looking. It has elongated rear lights, which are usually white, and it looks odd, but I like the way it looks. I do love Citroens. Like the Citroen CX is, it's kind of an ugly duckling, but it looks very cool. Yes, the Lancia Thesis, that's the one. Yes, there are Opals in Sweden. We have Opals. We don't have Vauxhalls. They're pretty common, but it's more that I think Kias are probably like the most common here, and everyone wants some type of crossover, like a small little SUV. And of course, Volvos are very popular over here. Like 10 with engine noise. All right, some people talking about dropping engines out of lifting up the body. Yeah, that is. I thought about doing that. Someone's asking about Subarus. I don't know. We get all those cars over here, but Volvos are very common for everyday. I think you'll see that sort of in some driving videos I have when I'm out in the city. You can see the sort of that it's a lot of SUVs and Volvos and things. Another cars that are considered ugly that I like. Well, a lot of people consider the XJ40 ugly outside the Jag world. People don't really like the square look. I really like it. So that's another car. But you said maybe like the terrible car that I like. I'm okay. This is a weird thing. I'm oddly fascinated by old Soviet cars. I've never had one. Probably never will. But in 1999, I moved with my family to Hungary. Lived there until 2003. And back then, that was all there was really there. Was old Soviet cars. That was it. And there was some Suzukis and things. But Um, all right, thanks a lot, Malcolm. I'm really glad that you liked it. Thanks a lot. Um, so I do like. I think that is very. I think they're very neat. Um, some of them, just the engineering of trying to get, just how rugged they are. There's some channels that focus on them. There's Aging Wheels that he has a Trabant, and that's sort of cool. And I mean, I saw those like every day going to school. Um, so I do think that I probably wouldn't. I don't think I'd ever get one, but I think it's interesting. Um, I really think that the what's it called? Is it the wolf? Maybe someone can. I can't think of it right now, but it's front engined, but it's also two stroke. I think it's 3 cylinder, but it's not air cooled. It's water cooled, and it's called like the Wolfberg or something like that. And I think that they look really good, but that probably really terrible cars. I'm following a channel right now. I can't think of right now, but he has one of those rear engine Skodas, and I think that's just a fascinating car. Yeah, the Wartburg, exactly. That's it. Those things are the early Wartburg. They'll look really round and cool. I think those are cool. Um, and yeah, I've heard that the Niva is a is a really neat car. You can still get them new, which is really cool. I was actually looking because I was looking at ones if there were any used Nivas for sale, like on the local store Craigslist thing, and then they came up new ones as well. Um, but I don't know. Um, yeah, a car that people find ugly. I kind of like. I like the Volvo. I think it's called the 480. So the front wheel drive sort of hatchback that was supposed to look like a newer version of the P1800 ES. I think that is a good looking car, but it's generally hated by everyone. It seems to be, but I think they're cool. It's one of those. I have a saved search on those. Once again, they're probably never gonna get one, but it's just fun to sort of follow them, and they're still dirt cheap. You can find a really nice one for like $1,500 or something, like a low mileage nice one. All right. I'll very expect that. Oh yeah, he had isn't he the guy who had the Chaika, which is what do you think about rust? Rust issues. Sweden is a very long country, so it's hard to talk about the whole country. Up north, they don't use any salt at all because it's too cold. Here they use a little bit of it, not as much as they seem to do over in the UK, mostly because I think everyone has had winter tires here. Yes, old cars have more nooks and crannies where dirt can get in and not get out. Modern cars have, liners underneath, but a lot of new cars do rust terribly over here as well if they're not rust proofed. It used to be that when a car was imported to Sweden back until about 10 years ago or so, before it got sold, they all went through rust proofing, cavity wax injection everywhere, and then they were sold. That was stopped a few years ago, and now it's the responsibility of everyone who buys a new car to go and do it if you want to. And when a car is 3 years old, it goes for the first inspection here, and you see some horror stories of just terrible rusting. They had issues with Teslas as well, which just oxidation of the aluminum and just failing their MOT after 3 years. And other cars, really thin steel. And I think so. I talked to a friend about this when I started to drive the XJ6 for winter. I was totally crazy after I rust proofed it, a lot, and we sort of talked about it because it's just modern rust proofing, which is the same as on any other car. Yes, the car is not galvanized, but this car has an epoxy coating on under and everything, and is in really nice shape underneath. So I don't think that it is gonna rust any worse than a newer car in that sense. And if it does surface rust, it's a lot thicker steel, so I think it's going to hold up better. I wasn't able to film when I had it up on jack stands, and I fixed the exhaust in the last video, but it looks perfect underneath. All the rust proofing looks perfect. The only place it has gone off is on the front shock or the front springs. The plate in the bottom there, it's probably scraped against the snow and it's scraped off a little bit on your seal. But that's the only place that I saw any sort of damage. Everything else just looks fantastic. All right, there was some chat that came by there that I unfortunately missed. I think I need to, next time I do this, I'll have to hook up a second device as well, and I think I can see the chat on that one better than I'm just doing this all on my phone because we don't have any internet out here, but it's working well. I think so, at least. Yeah, Arthur, really. Yes, but yeah, that is sort of like most of the stuff here, and I'm glad that you guys like the idea of maybe possibly finding a car that's not a Jag, and you know, sort of like it wouldn't be a main car in the channel, but it would be a fun thing. I've also thought about maybe finding a project car to what happened with the V6 S-Type. I sold it to a friend of the channel, and he stores it at my house during the winter, and I service it for him. So that's why you get to see it every now and then. I didn't do any filming of the servicing now because it was just tight, and I was filming other things and wasn't really feeling that well. But I just serviced the transmission, changed the fluid in the rear end, flushed the brakes, and oil change and all that. But it's coming back for the winter again, and next winter he wants to do probably do all coolant hoses, and it was probably we can do the serpentine belts as well. But it's being used and loved. The new owner absolutely loves the car. He called me yesterday. He picked it up a couple days ago. He called me yesterday, and just he was just so happy with the car and that it runs beautiful after all the work done to it now again, and that he's so happy because I never advertised the car. I actually called him up because he used to have one, and I think it was wrecked, and he hadn't had one for lots of years, and yeah, I kind of. Yeah, I'm not going to fall into the trap of buying cars for views, and this channel will never be able to I will never be able to buy cars as often as some, of course, big channels can, which is just a completely other thing. But I thought it would be fun to have a project on the channel, so something that I get like a fix up, and then maybe that I actually decide I'm gonna get rid of, and sort of like a slower, more detailed version of Wheeler Dealers. And that is something that would be fun. So maybe that will happen with a Morris Minor or something small like that. I think that would be fun. I don't know why. I really do. I like the Morris Minor. It's a happy little car. I think there's no one that can hate the Morris Minor. It's a cute little thing. And I do have a friend of the channel who has lots of them. And so at some point I'm gonna go and have a look at them and ask him if he knows of any for sale or something, and maybe take one of them out for a drive. Yeah, because it was a long time ago I drove one. And that would be fun. But I mean, I am of course continuing with the big restoration of the S-Type, but it's gonna be a slow thing because that's it's sort of it's gonna be expensive, and I'm not going to be Ed or Ant. I like them both. China. The only thing I never liked about China's version of Wheeler Dealers is they'd buy like let's say a new brake servo for a car, and they put it on, it's all nice and shiny, and he put back the rusty bolts. I could never do that. I mean, I just clean things up at least, and I do like the attention to detail that Ant has when like if there's an air filter housing that doesn't look nice, he goes and he resprays it, and I like that. they're both cool. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to do something like that, and then maybe I could count the hours as well to sort of see how long it actually took to do sort of a project like that. I don't. That's a weird question. Someone asked if, or not weird, but just hard to answer, if an XJ6, Series 2 can be faster than an S-Type V6. I don't actually know how fast an S-Type V6 is. It's limited to something. I'm not sure what. I never pushed mine really that hard, just because I was just concerned about getting to and from work 1 hour each day with it. But I don't know, an XJ6 Series 2, it's not a slow car. It's just it's not fast off the line like a modern car, but it's pretty fast. The V12 ones are weirdly fast. They're very fast at highway speeds. So I think nothing really beats them from like 110 kilometers an hour to like 150. So like 60 to 100 miles an hour. They're very, very fast. Yeah. See that we still have some people here. So I have never done a track day. I really want to. I went out on a track day a couple years ago. My godfather, he used to race Porsches, and I went along with him with the Porsche Club, and there was a thing where you could ride along with some drivers, and went out in like brand new 911s, and I have to say that I actually, after like lap 6 or something, I actually sort of felt the car sick. It was, I didn't say anything, and I was just like thinking about other things, but that was so much fun. I would love the whole sort of track day thing, or I've also like thought about asking this, but I don't even know how to ask it. But we have an airport pretty locally, and I think that's where the runway, I think Koenigsegg do some tests there as well. And it would be so much fun if it would be. I will see if I can maybe go there with a club or something. If you could rent a part of an airstrip and do like speed runs or something, but I don't know if that's even possible. It'd be fun. Track days are not really Jag things over here. The Jag club doesn't really go to do track days, but maybe that could be a thing to do in the future with a different car. It'd be probably more fun with a manual car on a track day. We have a veteran Svadev. I've been I checked out some of you. Congrats on all the views on your latest one of your latest videos, the one about the battery, Veteranbilens Värde Bara, which is a Swedish YouTube channel, which does old Volvo things. It's a very cool channel. It's got a lot of views on a recent video. High performance driving school, is that like where you go and they teach you how to drive fast? What's an transmission swaps? I think that is a great idea. Because that is a limited thing on the car, is the transmission. But for instance, in mine, it's the BorgWarner 66. It's very smooth, actually. That one is a good one. But it would be nice sometime with one more gear, to have like less revs on the highway. And I thought about that with the XJ12 as well. But I've also thought about manual. So I think that the S-Type, the 66, is probably going to be a manual car. So that would be, a swap in that one at least. Because I think the 3.8 liter engine will be nice with a manual transmission. So I saw that Jeff answered there with, yeah, you have a go in your car. That would be a very cool thing to do. I'm trying to get more involved in the in events with the local Swedish Jag club here, and I'm hoping to be able to help organize some of those events. Gear Vendor Overdrive, yes, that is a cool idea. I had thought about that, but I can't really justify like the cost of it for the XJ12 just because how little I actually use that car. But for instance, I mean, if I was highway commuting more, like an XA6 or something like that, I would probably consider something like that. But it's probably almost cheaper to put in a different transmission, like a 700, GM 700. Thanks, Marcus Garage. Yes, please hit that thumbs up button if you have. And just, I will make this available later. I'm hoping I did everything right in the settings, and this will be available on the channel later to watch. So if you haven't been able to join, I should be able to watch it later. And also, scroll back and rewatch things. Yes, A Car is Born from Mark Evans. I grew up with watching that. I mean, I was in third grade or something when he did. I mean, that really dates how it's about when that came out, and I came home from school watching. I remember like sitting on the sofa just watching that because I was really into cars and watching that. And I rewatched it a few years ago, and I watched him when he built a helicopter as well, when he did the MG, all the other things. I like Mark Evans as a presenter. It's very cool. And at pretty much the same time as he did the E-Type, as he rebuilt the E-Type, my dad and I built a model E-Type, like a Rebel, like plastic model, one of those. So we were sort of building it along as the show was on. That's a great show. I also recently watched a really good car show. I can't think of what's called, Bangers and Cash, which I thought was just. I mean, of course, it's very like TV, and they only focus a little bit on each car, but I felt it was very entertaining to watch. At least I thought. Otherwise, I do actually watch a pretty substantial amount of other car YouTube channels. I often actually watch a lot of like really weird, obscure things, and anything from all the big main channels, of course, like Hoovy's Garage and Tavares and all those really big channels. But I watch a lot of people that follow this channel as well, and I watch. I'm trying to think of one. There's one channel, I can't think of what it's called right now, and it really bugs me. But he's a guy in the UK, and he does a lot of Rover SD1s, and he's working on a Jag Mark 1 3.4. Yes, I do watch Hubnut. I do love Hubnut. I'm watching that for years. He is one of the inspirations to the channel as well. That I liked his. He's so approachable, and I really wanted to copy, not copy in that sense, but sort of like made me realize that you can just be like an average person and do this sort of things. I am actually not watching that Car Wizard project yet. I probably will a little bit later. I don't know. I used to really like Car Wizard, even though he's very awkward on camera. But I don't know. He's I don't know. I don't know. I've had a hard time finishing some of the videos. I'm trying to get and watch some more of them. It's just, I don't know, it feels a little scripted sometimes for me. I'm not a big fan of scripted content. I don't know. I never script anything, and that's why there's some ums and things, because it's always on top of my head. And if there's ever any car facts or anything, from when I'm working on things, it's all memorized. So, but I know he likes to hate on the Jag V12, so I don't really get why he wanted to do that with the Car Wizard, or with that car. I think it's a cool idea. Also, I would not. He's gonna carb it, and I would not choose an HE engine to carb. I'd carb because that's not gonna run right. I would carb a pre-HE engine. But it's be interesting to see how it goes. I think it's going to be difficult to get it to run great carbs. They're so high compression, those engines, and they need fuel injection. But yeah, I will see what happens though. Oh yeah, it's a 6-liter. Yeah. But I think I'll check restrictions on tuning. Sorry, I didn't really see all that. Some European restrictions on channels called residues. Yes, Regis and Cletus. Yes. But what happened to Regis and Cletus? Did they stop making videos, or I don't know? Because I used to follow that a lot. And I loved, especially that really ratty Corvette was super cool. I do watch a lot of shows with U.S. cars. I love Vice Grip Garage. I mean, that is like the highlight of my weekend, is a new Vice Grip Garage video, and and I think 'cause he's just he has the greatest sense of humor of any guy on YouTube. He's the best at telling jokes. I love his videos. I do watch a lot of Junkyard Digs videos as well. Um, and then I really like Steve from This Week with Cars. He has an amazing car collection. I can't believe, I think there's like 40 or 50 some British cars. Um, what's that? Yeah, a video where you guys send pictures of the cars. That'd be very cool. Thanks for the idea. We will do that. We'll do a video of everyone's cars and people can talk about them a bit. Or maybe people can send in a short little video of themselves with the car and I'll try and edit that all together. That could be really fun. But yeah, This Week of Cars is really cool. He had a viral video maybe like a year and a half ago with an XJ6 Series 1. And that was, his channel's really taking off. He's at like 50,000 subscribers now. It's very cool. He does a lot of A series things. He bought like 6 midgets at once. Oh, wasn't you like, and yeah, This Week of Cars, that's a good one. Oh, Jeff, I'll have to check that out. You see, there's so many good good channels out there. I'm trying to think of what else car channels. Yeah, Project Binky. I need to catch up on Project Binky. Like when they started Project Binky is when I was working on my XJ12 and like when I was in uni. So it feels like such. I need to catch up on that. I have probably like 10 episodes to catch up on. But I really like the fabricating in that it's off the charts amazing. I mean, if I could even do a tenth of that kind of stuff, that'd be amazing. I'll have to check that out. Nitro Sylvia, I haven't heard of that channel. But when I'm not watching car stuff, I'm always like listening to documentaries. I love historic documentaries and obscure sort of facts. I really like a channel which I know another person watching here likes a lot, which is called Historic Travels. It's just a Titanic channel, and it really did blow up. That channel recently was like 25,000 subscribers, and no time at all, which is very cool. But it's just very nerdy Titanic facts. But if you're into that, then I recommend Historic Travels. It's a cool channel. And I think the guy's pretty like young too. I think he's just a high school kid, so he's doing a really good job with the channel. All right, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I haven't really like showed from upcoming things that are coming up. I'm trying to like think of that. I think that we're pretty much gone through most things. Furious Driving, building a 4.6 P6 Rover, that would be very cool with the last like big engine. But that is one thing I've noticed after driving my wife's Range Rover a bit, that I think at some point I need a car with a V8. I do like a V8 now. It's it could be a cool project, but probably be a long time in the future. Gotta save up a little bit more, but I know I end up buying a lot of parts for the cars for the videos, so that it all sort of adds up. But now we're focusing on that interior. But I think that we'll probably wrap this thing up pretty soon. Do we have any more questions coming up, or? Thanks a lot, and I'm glad you guys were able to join in for the first live chat. So something you guys want me to do some other time again in a while? Would that be fun to do another live thing, or maybe we could do a live thing when when I first like start up the new engine in the S type or something? Could that be a fun thing? Thanks for watching. Yeah, nice job. All right, thanks. I have to say that I probably have like one of the nicest communities here on YouTube. You guys always leave such nice comments, and it's really it's very seldom that I see like negative comments. And I have to say that it's weird because you kind of say this is just some bully on the internet, but it can actually be kind of, it's weird. You can really lose motivation. But you guys are mostly like really positive and really nice people. So that's really awesome. But I'm gonna sign off now. But just say one thing. I am working on some new designs for merchandise and hoodies and things. So that's gonna come up pretty soon. If anyone knows someone who is a bit of an artist, I'm looking for someone, and of course I'll pay them, who can do like a cool cartoon drawing of one of my cars. If anyone knows someone, please send me an email. It's livewiththeclassic@gmail.com about that, because I really want to get hold of an artist who can do that. But I think that is it for now. Thank you so much everyone who joined, and we'll try and do this again soon. All right, I will catch you guys in a video very soon. Take care. Bye.